Okay guys, so we have a list today of 21 things you're gonna look for in buying a used car. And this goes for pretty much any used car. Specialty cars like these, you have a few more things. We're not gonna go over that today. Holy crap, look at the brake dust on that thing. Look at that. You know, like I said, specialty cars have different things to look for. This particular one, we'll use this as a generalized car. So I have a list here, like I said, 21 things. We're going to go over the list when you first arrive to a car to buy it. Let's say you're buying off Craigslist or Facebook. When you first get there, before you even start the car, you're gonna look over a bunch of different things. So let's hit that list now. We'll take off in the car. We'll hit that list. Very first thing you wanna do is go up here, get the VIN from the dash. If you didn't already have the VIN from the ad, a lot of times the VIN's not on the ad, and this is off eBay. You can also get the VIN in the door, pretty much any car, and do a Google search for that VIN. That's your best defense. At this point, you do that before you do Carfax or anything else. You type the VIN number into Google. If it's ever been in a salvage auction or any kind of major crisis accident, it should show up on Google. The next thing, worn tires. So worn tires on, especially a car like this, you're not only going to look at the tires on the outside. I just drove this in here on the driveway, so they're dirty. Not only on the outside, but what you're going to do is feel on the inside. So basically, you're going to reach your hand inside, especially on the rear. You're going to feel them and feel the tread and make sure it's the same as the front. You know, a lot of cars will actually wear the tread on the inside, but not the outside. That also goes the same for the front. Next thing is rust. Now, where I'm at here in Missouri, we don't really have too much of a rust issue. On like a Chevy maybe, but not on this kind of stuff, right? Slide underneath the car, lay on the ground, slide underneath of it, look at it, see if there's any bubbling. This one doesn't have any to even show you. See if there's any bubbling actually. I think we have a car here from Michigan, and see if it has any of that. That's going to be telltale sign of rust starting. Even if you can't see the rust, if it's only bubbling paint, that's something definitely to look at. Something else I like to do also is, especially on the front, and this one's hard to do it because the wheels are so big. Usually have a lot more fender wheel gap than that. A lot of times you go up to it, just the car sitting there, you kick the tires, and usually you could hear, especially if it's a wheel bearing that has play in it. And you see me a lot of times, I'll take my foot and roll the tire actually backwards. I can't do it on this one because the wheels aren't turned. On a German car, you could actually check the control arms and all that stuff like that. You can check the thrust arm bushings as you will. Next one, check the engine oil. Check the engine oil, not only the level before you start it, but check and make sure there's no coolant in it. Make sure it's not milky looking. Check all that. Also check all your hoses, all your throttle body boots, all the rubber hoses. If your radiator hoses are all ballooned out, look like they're about to bust, that could be potential money. Next one is check the coolant. This car has been driven recently. I can't check it on here. The coolant tank's on this. This one we have their shroud off still. A lot of times the radiator will have a cap right on the radiator. You can check it. Make sure the car has not been started, or you could possibly burn yourself. Next one up, check the brake fluid. The brake fluid is under here. If it's low, it could need brake pads pretty soon. The brakes could be about shot. If it's really low, there could be a leak. Keep an eye on all that. See what the state of it is. Check the power steering fluid. The power steering fluid, this is all brand new on this car. Look at the quality of it. And also when you start it, check and make sure it doesn't whine. Power steering pumps could be $100 or so a piece. If you're not looking to blow a bunch of money as soon as you buy a car, definitely check all that stuff. The next one is interesting. Gonna be check the paintwork for orange peel. Trying to think here. This car hasn't been repainted, but you want to get in the light and the shine, and you can see, you probably can't see on this as factory, if it looks rougher, like one panel looks rougher than the next panel, and then especially on colored cars, not to be racist, on colored cars, you can see maybe this car's had, the fender is slightly different color than the pillar and the hood. Maybe you can see it on camera, maybe. That, you know, basically says it was wrecked or there's some paint work done on it. Check that. If it's a low mileage car, you don't want that, no doubt. Scan for codes. It's a good deal, usually a good idea. Before you even start the car, go in and turn the key on. Get your code reader out. You should have, it's 2019, people. You should have some kind of code reader. If not, you could buy one, a basic code reader at Walmart for 20 bucks or Amazon for less. Scan it for codes. Does it have any ABS lights on? Does it have any SRS airbag lights on, etc.? Does it have engine codes? What are the engine codes? Are they codes that you're willing to deal with if it has them? The next one's going to be started up. Listen for exhaust leaks, or basically listen for anything wrong, right? Holy crap, it's hot in here. So, you know, how does it sound? This one sounds weird because it's not running any emission stuff. It sounds rumbly, just the way this one is. So, shouldn't close the hood yet, but while the hood's open, that's also a good time to check for oil leaks and coolant leaks and drips. Let it run for a little bit. Are the fans working? Look underneath the car. Is something dripping? You know, is there an issue? The next thing, we're standing in front of the car. Check the VIN on the door panel to the VIN on the dash to the VIN on the title and make sure they all match. Also, if there's VINs on the front fenders anywhere, under the hood itself, you can tell if those parts have been replaced by see if it has the OEM VIN number stamp on it. Okay, so on the test drive, we're going to first of all check for shaking on the steering wheel. We're kind of in town right now because the camera didn't record, so we'll have to just deal with it. Get up the speed. Is the steering wheel shaking? Is the shaking coming from the rear of the car or the front? Could indicate possibly a bent wheel, could indicate a tire getting bad, indicate CV axles, a drive shaft problem, etc., etc., etc. Could be all kinds of issues. So check all the electronics in the car. So is the radio working? Is the power seats working? Is the windows working? If more than one thing is not functioning, it could be an issue with the module. You know, if you don't have, most cars you have to clone the module to the new VIN, to the VIN of your car. So if you don't have that software, it could be a massive expense to the tune of a couple $1,000s for some stuff. Definitely check that. Basically floor it and make sure it shifts through all the gears. Well, we're right in the middle of town here, so I can't exactly floor it yet. And make sure the transmission functions correctly. Not only when you floor it, even when you're just going up to speed, right? You get on the interstate, merge on the interstate, getting up to speed, count the shifts. If you don't know how many gears the transmission is supposed to have, make sure it shifts through all the gears. Make sure the shifts are not sloppy. Make sure it's not kicking out of gear. Make sure there's no shudder between shifts. And just kind of check all that stuff. Basically swerve left and right, check any kind of potential wheel bearing issue. Now if you hear a little bit of rumbling, obviously like I said in the past, you swerve to the left, that puts more weight on the right of the car. All right, so that's going to indicate if the noise gets louder, it could be wheel bearing on the right. If you swerve right, that puts more weight on the left of the car. If it gets louder, it could be a left wheel bearing, if you have that kind of noise. And once again, when you get back, turn the car off, scan it again. All right, so don't even before you get back your test drive, like I said, just turn the car off and rescan it. What I really like to do, since a lot of codes don't come back until after you restart it, and a lot of guys will actually reset the code before you get there so it don't pop up. When you get back, turn the car off after you scanned it with it on. Turn it off, let it sit for a second, start it back up. Does the check engine light come back on? Usually those are oxygen sensor lights, or could be a misfire the seller is trying to hide. Oxygen sensors could run into quite a bit of money. You know, most of these cars nowadays have 4 oxygen sensors on them. They could even have more, depends on what it is. And they're 100, 150 bucks a piece. Well, you need a couple of them, there's 300 bucks, right? So there is that. I would say the next thing, let me see here. So the Carfax situation. Here's the Carfax situation. I would not run the Carfax before you go look at the car. Carfax is, I don't know anymore, 60 bucks. Auto check, I think it's 30. Go drive the car first and make sure it's what you want. You can always run the Carfax or auto check from your phone right there in front of the car. Let's say everything checked out, the test drive went great. You know, while you're standing there, go ahead and get the VIN, run the auto check on it right there. That way you're not wasting money ahead of time in a car that might be totally junk before you even go and pick it up. So, I mean, that's basically my list there. It's roughly 21 items. Hopefully this helps you guys out. This is a general list for pretty much any car. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day.